Basketball fans, welcome back. Now, I bet you thought I was exaggerating last time when I said that you were going to know exactly who was the best NBA player ever once you watch this next video. We are going to break this up a little bit more than what I intended to give everybody a decent chance to defend themselves. Now, in all fairness, I'm going to tell you where I lean. This guy right here, great player, great shooter, 6 rings. You know, you're talking greatness. So that's my inclination to go as greatest player initially. But we're going to have a great debate and we're going to see who exactly is the greatest player ever. Now, to begin with, I'm going to start with Carlos. He is going to defend his case, and I'm going to just let him do his talking and see what he says.
What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be having a little discussion about who I think the best NBA player of all time is, and then we're going to have a little debate with my cousin and my dad on who they think the best NBA player of all time is. And by looking next to me, you can probably already tell who I think the best NBA player of all time is. But we're going to get into the numbers that prove that. Right? Now, the first thing out of a Jordan supporter's mouth is always 6 rings. 6 rings to 3. Now, are they impressive? Yes, 6 rings are impressive. Can that be the deciding factor to determine whether Jordan is better than LeBron James? No. And the reason is because players don't win championships alone. Great players do not win championships alone. Great teams win championships. All right? The MVP of the league doesn't always win the championship that year. And that's because individual players cannot win titles. So when it comes to 6 rings to 3 rings, I see rings more of a team accomplishment than an individual player accomplishment. So they can't go into the conversation of who is the best player of all time. I mean, they play a little role in it, but they don't play as much of a role as Jordan supporters say they do.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. Okay, keep on.
So the next thing out of a Jordan supporter's mouth is always that Jordan was a better scorer than LeBron James was. Now, while the eye test might tell you that, the numbers just don't say that. All right, Jordan did win 10 scoring titles. Jordan did average 30.1 points per game. But when you look at the number of attempts more that he's taken than LeBron James, you'll see why. He's played less games and taken more attempts than LeBron James has. All right, so to look at the pure field goal percentages, overall in their careers, Jordan's at a 49.7, LeBron's at a 50.4. If you want to break it down further into 2s and 3s, 2-pointers, Jordan's at a 51%, LeBron's at a 54.7%. If you want to look at 3-pointers, Jordan's at a 32.7%, LeBron's at a 34.3%. If you want to look at their effective field goal rating, Jordan's at a 50.9%, LeBron's at a 54%. So all these numbers show how LeBron's more effective, more efficient with his shooting, even though he doesn't take as many shots. So his points per game are at 27.1, which is not bad at all. All right, he's a great scorer, and he's very efficient with the ball. Now, the points per game is not as high as Jordan's due to the fact that he doesn't take as many shots as Jordan did. All right, but his percentages and his efficiency are all right there. Now, one thing everybody knows, that Jordan was better in is free throws. That's where LeBron struggles. Now, free throw shooting will not make you an overall better scoring, but that's about the only thing I could find that LeBron wasn't as good as Jordan in. All right, but everything else, 3-point shooting, 2-point shooting, overall field goal percentage, LeBron's just a step ahead of Jordan. All right. Now let's take a look at how much of an impact each of these players had on their teams and how much help they had on their teams. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to look at how their teams performed, their records before and after they were there. All right. So the 83-84 Bulls were 27-55 without Jordan. 84-85 Bulls were 38-44 with Jordan. That's plus 11 wins. It's pretty good. The 92-93 Bulls with Jordan were 57-25 NBA champions. The 93-94 Bulls, when Jordan left for baseball, were 55-27, which is only 2 less wins than they had the previous season with Jordan. They were still a great team. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They went to 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they were a great team. They were greatly coached. Now, when you take a look at the teams that LeBron was on, whenever LeBron was not around, they were horrible teams. They did not make the playoffs. All right. So the 02-03 Cavs were 17-65. without LeBron. 03-04 Cavs, when he was a rookie, they were 35 and 47. That's plus 18 wins. All right, take a look at the 09 and 10 Cavs. They were 61 and 21s, made a deep playoff run. The 10-11 Cavs were 19 and 63. That's minus 42 wins without LeBron James. That's a big impact he had on that team. That's a team that he dragged deep into the playoffs the year before. 19 and 63 without him. If you look at the 13-14 Heat, they made it to the finals. They were 54 and 28. The 14-15 Heat were 37 and 45. That's minus 17 wins. That's a huge difference. They still had D Wade, still had Bosh. They did not qualify for the playoffs. 13-14 Cavs, they were 33 and 49 without LeBron. They did have Kyrie, and that was Kyrie's best season without LeBron. For people that say that Kyrie won those championships, Kyrie's best season without LeBron was 33 and 49. They did not qualify for the playoffs. As soon as LeBron came, 14-15, they were 53 and 29. That's plus 20 wins. They made it to the finals. Now that's how much of an impact LeBron has on these teams. Those are the teams that LeBron James drags to the finals every year. These teams without LeBron James would not be playoff teams. He drags these teams there, and that explains that 3-6 record that he has in the finals. Is because he's consistently dragging teams deep into the playoffs that do not belong there. Now this might surprise a lot of you, but LeBron is more clutch than Jordan. I have the numbers to prove that. Alright, so by clutch, we're going to be talking about last 10 seconds of games, last 5 seconds of games. We're going to be talking about facing elimination games. Alright, so let's start with facing elimination games. Of course, LeBron has faced more elimination games than Jordan has because of the fact, like I said before, he's consistently dragging teams that don't belong deep in the playoffs to the finals. Alright? That's why he's faced more elimination games. But when you look at the record, Jordan is 6 and 7 in elimination games. LeBron's 14 and 10. If you look at the points per game in elimination games, Jordan's at 31.3. LeBron's at 33.7 points per game. If you look at the rebounds, Jordan's at 7.9. LeBron's at 10.8. You look at the assists, Jordan's at 7. LeBron's at 7.5. Look at the blocks, they're both at 1. The field goal percentage in elimination games, Jordan is at 45.8%. LeBron's at 49%. 3-point percentage, Jordan's at 33.3% in elimination games. LeBron's at 35.7%. Now, of course, Jordan did have the advantage once again, like throughout the career, in free throws and in steals. But that's the only thing that he was better than Jordan in elimination games and throughout their career. So let's take a look at clutch shots, clutch performances. If you want to look at the final 5 seconds in the playoffs in the fourth quarter or OT for tying shots or go-ahead shots, Jordan is 5 of 11. LeBron is 7 of 15 with 5 buzzer beaters. That's 45% for Jordan, 47% for LeBron. So in the last 5 seconds of the playoff game, go-ahead or game-tying shot, LeBron's better. If you want to go last 10 seconds of playoff games, Jordan 7 of 15, LeBron 12 of 23. That's Jordan 47%, LeBron 52% for game tying or go ahead shots in the last 10 seconds of the playoff game. So when the playoffs count most, last 10 seconds, last 5 seconds, Jordan is not as clutch as LeBron. It's proven in the numbers. No matter what your memory says, your memory is incorrect if you believe that Jordan was more clutch than LeBron. The numbers prove otherwise. Alright? Not only in facing elimination games is he better, but the last 5 seconds, last 10 seconds of games that count, give him the ball. So now let's talk about playoff performances, playoff stats, since people think that playoffs are the only thing that matters, which kind of true. Playoff games are the only ones that matter. Looking at the stats, it's more of the same. LeBron leads in field goal percentage, 49.1 to 48.7. Effective field goal percentage, 52.8 to 50.3. He has the advantage in rebounds, 8.9 to 6.4. Assists, 7.1 to 5.7. Blocks, 1.0 to 0.9. He has 22 career playoff triple-doubles as opposed to Jordan's 2. In the finals, he has 10 triple-doubles as opposed to Jordan's 0. He averaged a triple-double in the 2017 NBA Finals. He averaged 33.6 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists per game. The only thing that Jordan does have the advantage in the playoffs is points per game, 33.4 to 28.9, which is due to the fact that he shoots a lot more than LeBron. And in steals, 2.1 to 1.8. But in every other stat here, LeBron leads the way in playoff performances, other than points per game and steals. He has more of an impact on his team because of his efficient shooting, his passing, his rebounding, his IQ. You know, it all just adds up and makes him a better player than the pure scorer that Jordan was. And not only can Jordan score, he could defend well. All right, but he couldn't defend 1 through 5 the way LeBron defends 1 through 5. All right. So, and once again, he did have Scottie Pippen on his team, who always took the hardest matchup from the other team. Okay, so when it comes to playoff stats, LeBron just takes it again. You know, the only thing I can say is that because of the shooting, Jordan averaged more points per game. But other than that, the triple doubles really do it for me. The 22-2 triple doubles show how good of an all-around player you are, and he has 22 in the playoffs. Jordan had 2. All right, so that really shows a lot right there. And then of course the more efficient shooting, 49.1% to 48.7, shows that LeBron is better than Jordan in the playoffs. All right, so the big one for Jordan supporters is 6-0 NBA Finals. LeBron's 3-6. So I looked into that, and of course, we found what I expected. Jordan didn't face tough competition. Right, he faced an old Stockton, old Malone. He faced a Lakers team that was done. He faced Clyde Drexler by himself, Charles Barkley by himself. Right, he didn't face tough competition. Right, when you look at the defenses that he went up against, they had an average defensive rating of 104.6. That means for every 100 possessions, they gave up 104.6 points. If you look at the average defensive rating of the teams LeBron faced, they had an average defensive rating of 103.6. So that's tougher than what Jordan faced. But that's not what the big difference is here. The big difference is the firepower that they went up against. Now, when I looked at the numbers for this, there was no competition on who went up against more firepower. And besides that, who went up against more All-Stars. A lot of people say, yeah, LeBron has basically All-Star teams with him. He's going up against All-Star teams. When you read some of these names that he's gone up against in the finals, there's really no competition with Jordan of who went up against tougher competition. So Jordan's toughest competition was 1995 when he went up against Malone, Hornacek, and Stockton. They averaged those 3 guys averaged about 18.9 points per game, and that was the top 3 guys he ever faced, basically. If you look at who LeBron has gone up against, his 07 year, Duncan, Parker, Ginobili. 2011, Dirk, Jason Terry, Jason Kidd. 2012, Durant, Westbrook, and Harden. 3 MVPs right there. 2013, Parker, Duncan, Kawhi Leonard. 2014, Parker, Duncan, Kawhi Leonard. Ginobili was there too. 2015, Curry, Thompson, Green. 2016, Curry, Thompson, Green. 2017, Durant, Curry, Thompson. 2018, Durant, Curry, Thompson. They averaged 24.7 points per game each, all of them. He went up against 4 All-Stars 2 times, went up against 3 All-Stars once, went up against 2 All-Stars 4 times, and went up against 1 All-Star twice. Jordan never went up against more than 2 All-Stars. So that's really not much of a conversation on who went up against tougher competition. Jordan never went up against any firepower. The teams Jordan went up against were out of their prime, old, or 1 All-Star teams. So if you really want to talk about who faced tougher competition, that's not a conversation. LeBron faces tougher competition with less talent around him and with no coaching. If you want to talk about coaching, Ty Lue just got fired because he's trash. All his coaches have been first-year coaches that he drags to the finals along with that trash-ass team that he has. Who's the best NBA player of all time?
LeBron James?
So final verdict, LeBron James is the best overall NBA player of all time. He's done more with less, hasn't had Hall of Fame coaches around him to help him out, and the numbers prove it.
Well, there you have it. Part 1, Who's the best player in the NBA? I told you you were going to be amazed here. Now it just depends on the other two guys. Can you do it? Can you prove to me and the whole world that Michael Jordan or another player is the best player in the NBA ever? We'll see. Stay tuned. I can't believe the stats, damn it. Jeez.